An interesting characteristic of language is that sentences can be related in a consistent way to other sentences. The verb and its particle, both underlined, can either be next to each other or the particle can be on the other side of the next noun phrase. The important point here is that we can change the structure of a sentence in any random way. So far, the related sentence pair we've looked at have the same meaning. For example, she looked up the answer and she looked at the answer, so meaning exactly the same thing. But sometimes sentences are related to it in a consistent way, even though their meanings are not the same. For example, here's a statement. Amanda is working today. Can you turn it into a yes or no question? The related yes or no question is Amanda working today? No native speaker of English would make the yes or no question something like, working Amanda today is. That's because there's systematic relationship between statements and yes or no question, even though they not have the same meaning.
Active voice is a sentence where the subject is active in doing something, while the passive sentence is the sentence the subject to something done. Active voice serves to provide an explanation of the activity or action that someone is doing or has done something. The existence of a subject, predicate, and usually it dealt with information is emphasized in its use in conversation or in writing. Real passive sentences are sentences in which the subject gets treatment, action, or giving certain verbs in their activities or actions. In other words, passive sentences show that the subject is the part that is the goal of an action that is being or has been done. In the passive sentence structure, the subject becomes the part that is subject to an action or activity. The subject in the passive sentence does not have the position of the actor, but the role of the actor is held by the object. Example active, Renu is watering the plants. Example passive sentence, the plants are being watered by Renu. Positive sentences in English are sentences that do not contain a negative word, namely not, and conversely, negative sentences in English are the sentences that have these negative words in them. Positive and negative sentences can be used to make statements about things, events, incidents, or other things. Positive and negative sentences can also be used when answering questions from other people in the form of interrogative sentences. So, in answering interrogative sentences, you can use these two types of sentences depending on your needs. The use of positive sentences will be explained in the present, past, and future tense because even though there are many tense in English rules. Positive sentences in present tense. What is characteristic of the present tense is the use of the verb in the first form or to be accompanied by verb in, For the use of positive sentences in the present tense, make sure that these characteristics are met and there are no negative words in them. Positive sentences in past tense in a sentence in the form of past tense. The use of the verb in it is verb to or the second form which marks something that happened in the past. So when using positive sentences in the past tense, use verb to and don't forget to make sure there are no negative words in it. Positive sentences in the past tense can be seen in the following. Example, last year, Bagas went traveling to Ubud and spent 2 weeks there. He visited our museums, watched Balinese traditional dance show, and learned how to make traditional crafts. He also met other tourists from all over the world, such as the United States, England, France, etc.
Positive sentences in the future tense. The main feature of the future tense in the use of the word will or shall, and adding the infinitive verb or basic verb. Sentences in the form on future tense can also use the phrase going to with the addition of to be in form of it and the infinitive verb behind it. Positive sentences in the future tense can be seen in the following examples. Annie will take a semester off starting next month because her family financial is in bad stage now. Use of negative sentences just like positive sentences. Negative sentences will also be explained in the form of present, past, and future tense sentences. As previously discussed, what distinguishes negative sentences from positive sentences in the use of the negative word noting them. Negative sentences in present tense. For the use of negative sentences in the present tense, make sure that the sentence uses verb 1 or verb ing and is accompanied by a negative word in it. Negative sentences in the present tense can be seen in the following example. Dewi is not a high school student, but she is also not a college student. Dewi graduated from high school last year and here Dewi graduated from high school last year and still looks for the right path for her life. Dewi isn't a high school student, but she isn't a student either. Dewi graduated from high school last year and is still searching for the right path in life. Negative sentences in past tense. In negative sentences, use verb to and don't forget to make sure they are negative word in use. Negative sentences in the past tense can be seen in the following example. Because he was lazy and didn't study seriously, he didn't pass the national exam last month. Not only that, he also didn't pass the college entrance exam yesterday. Because he was lazy and didn't study seriously, he failed the national exam last month. Not only that, he also failed the college entrance exam. Negative sentences in future tense. To understand negative sentences in the future tense, make sure they contain the words will, shall of the phrase going to. Negative sentences in the future tense can be seen in the following examples. Nina, Jenny said that she won't overlook the cheating incident. So all of the students who cheated during exam will be punished. Miss Jenny said that she won't let cheating happen. So all students who cheat during exam will be punished. Bagus. That's a good thing. If Miss Jenny let it pass, two students will not reflect on those students will not reflect on their wrong behavior. That's a good thing. If Miss Jenny had allowed it, the students would have realized their mistake.